forgot to bring the documentation with me to give to each of the trustees, but I'm extremely confused. When I look at the parts per billion that are allowed in the water that's healthy to drink, in Michigan and in Wisconsin, it's 0.10. But yet the letter I get from the village is that it's okay for me to drink water here that's coming at 0.12. Again, when I research this, for children, long-term effects of drinking this water is lower IQ, greater incidence of cancer, respiratory disease, on and on and on. It's my understanding that the government said back in 2001 that everybody had until 2006 to get the water below 0.10. Here we are, the middle of 2008. I want to be able to drink the water. I want to feel good about my child drinking the water. I just want to know what's happening, what's going on with the water, and why is it okay for me to drink water at 0.12, but if I was 200 miles north, and you can tell this gets me, if I was 200 miles north or 200 miles northwest, northeast, I wouldn't be able to drink that water. But yet here in the village of Waterman, I can. I don't understand why it's okay for me to drink it here, but I can't drink it there.
It's not okay. We're approaching
The letter I have from the village says it is okay to drink this water. Do not go buy bottled water. You look at Wisconsin, you look at Michigan, it says immediately stop drinking the water if it's above 0.10. And again, I have each of your addresses. I will be more than happy to send it to you.
A lot of the 80, 90-year-old residents in town, they
Please, please, please. You don't have a lot of other environmentals that go back 80 and 90 years ago. Ron White says you can't fix stupid. Please don't prove him to be true.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your statement was ignorant. Do not compare me to somebody 80 or 90 years old that's lived here their whole life.
Wait, I want to address your concern. Can I just make a comment on what you're saying? And I don't know if you want to talk anything about your water issues and your experience, but this has been changed. The EPA has come in and they've changed the acceptable levels.
Correct. Back in '01 for it to be implemented by '06.
Correct. And depending on your experience with governmental agencies and how they change what is and what is not acceptable, I can drive 75 miles an hour on a highway in Nevada, but I can only drive 65 miles an hour here. My point is, I spent 20 years working in environmental. I appreciate your concern. I have 2 children drinking this water, living in this town as well. But we're addressing the issue within an acceptable time frame by the EPA. If this were hazardous, that people were going to be dropping over with cancer, do you think that the EPA would be allowing us to continue
I talked to
for
the
our water to be
EPA. I
drank?
talked to them myself. They are only concerned with short-term effects and not long-term effects. I have lived here a little over 7 months. In the 7 months I've been here, I have only seen stupid stuff going on and nobody doing anything about the water, which is really important.
Well, and I appreciate that you're here this evening, and I hope you continue to come, because there are a lot of things going on to address the water. We are spending a tremendous amount of time and effort, discussion with our engineers, discussion with experts in this area to address this issue. So I encourage you to continue to come to learn about what we're doing. There's only so much information that we can share with the community, and the notice that goes out, we're required to send that out, I believe.
That's
But,
right, and I talked to the Illinois EPA. They approved the letter. They know the letter went out. They're CYAN, and that's the name of the game. Everybody just CYAN, and I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is why it's okay here, but it's not okay there or okay there. And I can go to Michigan and drive 75 miles per hour, completely different state. That isn't going to affect my health long-term driving 65 versus 75.
Well,
that is not going to affect my health long
Maybe it was a great
term.
analogy, but the point I'm trying to make is these things with the EPA, they take years to come down. It was acceptable. Our community is not the only community that has an arsenic issue.
I agree. He said there's several other in the state that he's working with.
But
2 wrongs don't make a right. I just want to know.
We are addressing the issue.
And when is it going to get
We are
something?
doing more. We have plans for the filtration system, and we're trying to work toward the implementation. Isn't that where we are right now?
Correct. There's a giant, to be very simple, there's a giant filter that you put on the existing water plant to remove the arsenic.
And according to the EPA, it's like a 2-year timeline to get all of this done. I just am curious when people in this village will have good drinking water that we can give our children and feel good about it. I don't feel good about giving my child drinking water here.
Well, and that's your choice, but we're addressing the issue within the
Cheryl, I
timeframes
think-
that are expected of us.
And I think what we can do is try to work with the insurers to find out a date for you when we're gonna be closer to the actual construction part of this. We've done the surveys, the plans are drawn, the finances have almost been completed. I know we've looked at the loan.
So that's what's holding it up is finances?
We're working, currently the EPA is reviewing our plans
Right.
to ensure that
And
the
permits.
filter that we have designed will meet the needs of the community. I mean, the last thing we want to do is put in a system that's not going to work.
I
So
agree.
So the EPA is reviewing those plans, and we anticipate having a construction permit to make these improvements, probably within the next 60 days, hopefully sooner than that.
So we've gotten the grants from the state and the federal government to make this happen?
No.
Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of grant, I mean, it's one of those times where the government says, before your water was fine. Now, all of a sudden, the arsenic level, they basically changed the regulations on us, which is what you're saying back in 2000, 2001. And they did that on a number of different items. For example, your neighbor here has a problem with radium, so they've got a system to remove radium. They may not have an arsenic issue, but they've got their own issues with some of these elements that the EPA's cracked down on, basically.
I don't mean to interrupt, when I went on the internet though, it said that there was federal funding available to get everybody up to speed.
No,
That's not accurate.
no, that's not the case.
Other than reaching into our pockets each month, what can we do to make this happen to go faster? I would think all you have to do is ask us.
Well, you're reaching into your pocket to buy water, apparently, you know,
There's
that's your choice.
there's not much more that we can do than what we're already trying to do. I mean, as soon as the permitting is allowed and the money is accessed through the banks are working with us to do this, the project will move forward.
So the local banks are funding it? Okay, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And in which case, if there's anything we can do other than reach in our own pocket for an increase of,
No, and we're trying everything we can.
No, when
Nick has
there's
been
no
meeting with
rain, when
the
I make
representatives,
up
and
rain, my
there's just
mom
no
wakes me
funding
up and when
available.
it's
At this
still
point,
shine.
that doesn't mean we're gonna stop looking on an annual basis, because that changes annually.
Yeah.
So, we are doing what we can.
okay.
I have to apologize. I did have a correspondence from you, so
Yes.
you wanna jump